Arabia. He was greeted by the Crown Prince. This is SRN News.
Some big news. Iran is threatening to wipe Israel off the map and destroy America. Now, UN inspectors say Iran is close to getting nuclear weapons, just weeks away. But President Trump vows he won't let them. He's even moved 2 aircraft carriers to the area. This is a big story, and Newsmax's Rob Finnerty is covering it all this week and exposing the real threat. Tune in at 8 p.m. Eastern tonight for Rob's series Stop Iran and find out Trump's secret plan to fix this. Watch Finnerty on Newsmax on all major cable systems. President Trump says he watches Newsmax all the time. You should too. So download the free Newsmax app on your smartphone and sign up for Newsmax Plus to watch us anytime, anywhere. Millions are making the switch to Newsmax because it's real news for real people.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland and let's get you covered. The Insurance Agency. Insurance the way it should be.
Here is the latest news and information that impacts you. I'm Derek White. A tragic crash Sunday night claimed the life of 40-year-old Juan Yanez Derma of Bird City and injured 3 others from St. Francis. The accident happened around 9:30 p.m. at County Roads E and 10 in Cheyenne County. Authorities say the vehicle rolled twice after failing to make a turn. None of the occupants were wearing seatbelts, while Yanez Derma was pronounced dead at the Cheyenne County Hospital. The cause is still under investigation, but speed and lack of restraints are factors. Colby native and former mayor Gary Adrian will receive an honorary associate's degree during Colby Community College's 60th commencement on May 16th at 6 p.m. at the Colby Event Center. Adrian, a U.S. Army veteran and longtime medical technologist, served 3 terms as mayor. He's credited with key projects including the Colby Event Center. For more information on this and other stories, visit nwksradio.net.
Rocket 1025.
Today, a deepening trough over the Great Basin is bringing continued breezy south-southwesterly winds at 15 to 25 miles per hour. Sunny skies and highs in the mid to upper 80s. Elevated fire weather conditions are a concern, mainly over Yuma County and Colorado. Overnight lows will be in the lower 50s. Tomorrow is still mostly sunny and breezy with highs in the low to mid 80s. And there's a chance of evening storms, mainly north and west of the line from Goodland to McCook. Lows will be in the middle 40s. Thursday and Friday, highs will be in the mid 70s, lows 40 to 45, and it looks to be dry. Saturday and Sunday, a slight ridge of high pressure will lead to southwesterly flow, highs in the upper 70s to low 80s, and it will be breezy and dry until Sunday afternoon and evening, where there's a chance for some showers and storms. Monday and Tuesday, better chances for showers and storms. Monday, it'll remain warm with highs in the 80s, while cooler temperatures in the 70s follow on Tuesday. This is meteorologist Chris Romick in the NWKS Radio Weather Center.
We've heard every excuse for not wearing a seatbelt. I'm just going down the street, or I'm in the middle of nowhere. Maybe even I didn't wear them growing up, and I forgot. And people who make this excuse die every year before they have to. Buckle up. It could save your life. A message from Kate.
Where is the best place to go to stream your favorite NWKS radio station? NWKSradio.net. Where should you go to find out what's happening in the area? NWKSradio.net. What's happening with local area sports? NWKSradio.net. Is the weather causing delays or cancellations? NWKSradio.net. Need tickets to the next big NWKS radio event? NWKSradio.net. The place to go to be in the know. NWKSradio.net.
Big savings are waiting at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Get 25 Chevy Silverado 1500 with 0.9% APR for 60 months plus $3,500 trade-in cash. Or choose a 25 GMC Sierra 1500 Turbo Max, 0.9% APR or up to over $7,800 off if you own a GMC or Buick. And don't forget, military members get an extra $750 cash allowance. It's happening now at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Online at hurlchev.com.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
Spring is in full swing at Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware. Get your lawn and garden looking their best with Ultimate Fertilizer and gear up with Eco blowers and mowers for the season ahead. Tackling a project, they've got a surplus of quality lumber ready for all your building needs. And when the work's done, fire up the fun with their wide selection of grills, smokers, and griddles from Traeger, Weber, and Blackstone. Stop by Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, your one-stop shop for spring projects, big and small.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland and let's get you covered. The insurance agency. Insurance the way it should be.
Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio is the place to turn to weekdays for the latest agriculture news and markets. Being a member of the National Association of Farm Broadcasters, we take pride in making sure you're informed of the latest news from the world of agriculture. Whether it's local, state, regional, or national, if it affects your farm or ranch, you can count on hearing it here. Daily reports from Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio are made possible by Farmers State Bank, Norder Supply of Scott City, Cornerstone Ag, and Woofter Construction and Irrigation.
You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4! It's the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
The amount of money getting thrown around to quarterbacks who haven't done diddly squat is amazing to me.
The region's only local sports talk.
Listen to this guy. He knows what he's talking about.
Broadcasting on Goodland's Rocket 102.5, simulcasting on Goodland's 730 Gold KLOE.
Guys everywhere.
Discussing it all from the preps.
It's been a long, long time. But the Goodland Cowboys are going to play for a state title.
To the pros.
How about a walk-off grand slam? Touch of all time, Ryan McMahon.
The Blitz is presented by Pearl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank, as well as the Insurance Agency, Farmer State Bank in Oakley, the Cowboy Corner Express, and Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell.
Let's go to work.
Ooh, belted right field. Well, he didn't go the opposite field, but he gives the Royals a 1-0 lead.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. That's beautiful.
Here's a pitch. And a ground ball to the right side. That's through the hole to right field. It's a base hit. It is going to score the run. Great at bat for Nick Martini. Just kept battling, kept fouling pitches off, and got his base hits. Rockies lead here in the second inning, 1-0.
Pass on the corner. Bridges off the bounce. Has to get it off. Puts it up. It's good. Mikael Bridges knocks it down.
This is the largest lead of the series for the next timeout, Boston.
Ball in the hands of Edwards again. Edwards for 3. Of course! Anthony Edwards can't miss. He's got 14 in the quarter, and he just pushed the lead to 12 for Minnesota, trying to go up 3-1 in the series.
And it's Tuesday morning. Good morning, everybody. Glad you're with us here on the Morning Blitz, May the 13th. A nice, beautiful morning out there. A little chill, but I like it. A little chilly, but I like it out there. 56 degrees to get this morning started, and some nice sunshine as well. Going to be the warmest day of the week this week here on the Tri-State region. About temperatures going to be in the mid to upper 80s here on this Tuesday. So and then a little bit of a cooler day tomorrow, and then a cooler day even on Thursday. Temperatures back into the mid to low 70s starting Thursday on is what the weather is telling us going forward. But so glad you're with us here on a Tuesday edition of the Morning Blitz. No matter if you're tuned in, of course, on Goodland's Rocket 102.5 or NWKSradio.net, or even, of course, the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream either on X, Facebook, or YouTube. Appreciate you doing so. Get your thoughts and comments in on X, Facebook, or YouTube. We can see them there. Or, of course, on the F&B Bank text line at 785-899-2222. Plenty to get to in today's next hour or so. We'll be talking with our good friend from DNVR Rockies, Christian Saez. He'll be stopping by to talk about the Rockies and the woes that they continue to have, and more about the change at the manager position, going with Warren Schaefer, what he can bring, and some more discussion on the Colorado Rockies as they lost last night, by the way, 2-1 to the Rangers in a tough luck loss. Chase Dollander was amazing, only giving up one hit, but unfortunately it was a 2-run homer to Wyatt Langford, and that was all the offense that the Rangers needed, as the Rockies were only able to put up one run. But think about it, you had a one-hitter in that game for the Rockies, and they were unable to get it. They only had one run compared to the 2-run homer that the Rangers got, and they lose 2-1 last night. So we will discuss more on that game with Christian Saez, more about the new manager position and all that stuff going on with the Colorado Rockies, as Christian Saez will join us coming up here in our second segment. We will also get to some local sport, a little bit more local sports in the back end of the show. It is the softball regular seasons come to an end for today for Colby and Goodland. I know Goodland is at home today hosting Cimarron for Senior Day. Colby is taking on Holcomb, if Holcomb has not forfeited those games yet. I don't know that for a fact. I'm sure someone will chime in and let me know. Nonetheless, the regular season does come in today for softball. Postseason play begins next week, but a lot on the line today, particularly for the Goodland Cowgirls. We get thoughts on that coming up here in segment 3. And real quickly, programming note, we will have coverage of Goodland Cowgirls softball today from Ray Dye Field, starting at around 2:40, 2:35 Mountain Time, give or take. Somewhere in that range, we'll be getting on the air, getting you set for Senior Day as the Cowgirls take on a very good Cimarron team today. But we'll get some more thoughts on that coming up in our third segment today. And we were going to get to an unbelievably interesting list from CBS Sports as they have a post-draft NFL ranking. So ranking all the starting quarterbacks in the NFL according to CBS. And I'm telling you what, there are some very questionable spots that quarterbacks are in. We will get to that all coming up here. So thank you, Texter. Holcomb has forfeited. Colby parent. Did I read that right? Colby parents are playing the players in a kickball game. Thank you, listener Andy. Great. That's a good time. They're having a lot of fun. I saw they had a pool party yesterday. Did the Colby Lady Eagle softball team, and now they're going to be playing kickball against the parents. I know Holcomb forfeited because I know they've had a lack of numbers, and you talk about a absolute 180 when it comes to Holcomb softball. Last year, with a great, unbelievable senior class led by, of course, one of the best pitchers in the state in Corinne Johnson. They were a state title tending team all the way to the state tournament. And this year, 0-for. Not a single win on the schedule, and they have forfeited the last few handful of games. So talk about a complete 180 for Holcomb Longhorn softball. Been tough there. We're going to get to some post-draft NFL rankings according to CBS. So thank you so much. We'll get to all that coming up here in the draft. Real quickly, highlight a couple of local things. First and foremost, Goodland Cowboy Golf. Congratulations to them. They win the GWAC golf tournament yesterday at Colby's Meadow Lake Golf Course. Cowboys with a really good showing, shot a 337 to take home first place. That was 15 shots better than second place Scott City, who shot a 352. Colby finished in third with a 380, followed by Holcomb, Hugoton, Cimarron, and Ulysses. The final team standings, but the Goodland Cowboys continue this great run that they've been on here in 2025. And they had 5 golfers finish inside the top 10 spots. Trent Sheldon led the way with an 80. Blair Lennon finished in third, and that was a second place finish for Trent. A third place finish for Blair Lennon with an 82. And then you had Braylon Mole, the dual sporter, finishing in 7th with an 87. Barrett Schlosser finishing in 8th with an 88. Trayton Haas finishing in 10th with a 91. I mean, Luke Thomas wasn't too far out of the top 10. He finished tied for 13th with a 95. I mean, that's just a really good golfing right there. I mean, to have 5 guys inside the top 10, pretty much that's a really, really good showing. Jackson Rumford from Scott City was your GWAC individual champion. He just edged Trent Sheldon by a single shot. He shot a 79 yesterday there at Meadow Lake Golf Course. That would be an 8 over par for him. But, man, a really, really good showing from Goodland Cowboy Golf. And the thing that stands out to me about this Goodland Cowboy Golf team is we get set for regionals coming up here on Monday. here in Goodland is where the 3A local regional will be. So the Cowboys will have home course advantage, which is great. They're going to have that they're going to know their own course. They're going to have they've played this course every single day in practice. They're going to know everything about it. It's a humongous advantage for them. On top of the fact they've had a great season no matter where they've gone. They've won multiple tournaments this year. But I think the thing that really stands out to me about this golf team that I have seen this year is that you don't know who's going to lead this team when it comes to each and every day. You don't know who's going to finish as the top golfer. We've seen Trent Sheldon up there a lot. He's been very consistent. We've seen Barrett Schlosser be up there a lot. He's been very consistent consistent this year. But like yesterday, Blair Lennon, who's kind of been maybe the 4 or 5 guy, has kind of bumped up a little bit there. He's bumped up a little bit, has Trent Sheldon, has Blair Lennon. He bumped up into a 3rd place finish yesterday. Braylon Mole's been in and out of the lineup because, of course, doing baseball and golf. And I think baseball is his number 1 sport as he dual sports. So he's been in and out of the lineup, but when he's been there, he's been really good. Trayton Haas has been kind of hanging around, but fluctuating between, the varsity and the JV, and had a great showing yesterday. And Luke Thomas has been, up and down this year, but he's had some times where he's been leading tournaments at times. I think he was leading down at Ulysses at one point in time and finished in the top 10. So that's the thing. You just don't know each and every day. And when you have 4 or 5 golfers that could finish in the top 5 every single time, if you get them all on the same page, like they did kind of yesterday, this is the result. You end up winning a tournament pretty convincingly over a good Scott City team led by one of the best golfers in the state in Jackson Rumford. So congratulations, Goodland Cowboys, GWAC tournament champions there at Colby yesterday, 337, 15 strokes better than Scott City. Colby finishing in 3rd with a 380. They were led by Caleb Dixon, who's been about as consistent as anybody when it comes to area golfers. He's finishing in the top 5, top 7, almost every single tournament. He shot an 84 yesterday to tie for 4th with Holcomb's Luke Tyne, who's also been very consistent this year across all that. But the tough thing for Colby is their next golfers tying for 13th and 16th in Kieran Youngman and Cade Youngman. So they just need, that's the thing. If you're going to finish high in the results, you got to have everybody else kind of finish, in the top 15, top 10 out of most of your golfers. And we'll see. Once again, regionals coming up here on Monday at home in Goodland here at Sugar Hills. It's very interesting to see how the Cowboys do. You would expect that they're on their home course. They should be able to play very well, and you would think that they should be able to qualify for the state tournament. But we'll see. Golf's kind of one of those funny games. You just never know what might happen each and every time you hit the links. So congratulations to Goodland Cowboy Golf winners yesterday of the GWAC. Mentioned the Rockies with a 2-1 loss last night. Royals stayed hot. They beat Houston 7-5. Michael Massey with a homer. Bobby Wood Jr., Jonathan Nia drove in a couple of runs as well. Michael Waka was great. He's been really good all year, but he finally got some run support as the Royals were averaging less than 2 runs per game per start for Michael Waka. So he finally got some run support as the Royals have now won 8 of their have gone 8-2 in their last 10. And that series continues tonight against the Astros, while the Rockies will be once again in game 2 against the Rangers. So both teams in Texas here for the opening part of this week. So there you go. Just a quick stop on some local sports real quickly here to open things up. But I want to dive into our topic du jour as we get to this here. But talking about NFL quarterback rankings. And so I came across this article on CBS Sports, and I just thought, let's just see where some of these guys are seated here. And in my mind, like if I ask the texters, so 785-899-2222, 785-899-2222, text the show. If I said, I want you to give me your top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL, text me your top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL. They don't have to be in a particular order unless you want them to be, but who are your top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL? Who would be the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL? So if you want to take your time and get your thoughts in here over the next 10 minutes or so, and tell me who you think are the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL at this point in time. Because I thought in my mind, all right, well, we've got Patrick Mahomes, who's still playing, and he's been fantastic. Josh Allen has been unbelievable through his part of his career. And then you kind of get to that third one, And there's Lamar Jackson, there's Joe Burrow, there's Jalen Hurts. Those guys to me, Mahomes, Allen, Jackson, and Burrow and Hurts, those five right there. Those five guys, when I'm talking about NFL quarterbacks, I sit there and I think, you know what? I think those five guys are probably the best quarterbacks in the NFL going into the 2025 season. And I guess I base that off of, have they won? Yes, they have. Have they won big? Most of the time, yes. That means making deep playoff runs. Yes, they've done that as well. Like I said, just in your mind as a sports fan and as an NFL fan, you're just like, well, these guys have had success. Either they've won Super Bowls, made deep playoff runs, they put up great numbers. These guys are really good players. Those five guys, like I mentioned, Hurts, Burrow, Jackson, Allen, and Mahomes, are all guys that I would sit there and say, I think that these guys are really, really good. And I think that they would be the top quarterbacks. Greg chiming in on the FB Bank text line. Allen, Mahomes, and Daniels. Okay, interesting. He's got Daniels in his top three at this point in time. So it's interesting that Greg brings that up because, according to CBS Sports, Jaden Daniels is the number one quarterback post-draft here going into 2025. Jaden Daniels of the Washington Commanders is the number one quarterback post-NFL draft. So here are the top 10. Here are the top 10. Jaden Daniels at number 1. Jalen Hurts at number 2. Joe Burrow at number 3. Lamar Jackson at number 4. Josh Allen at number 5. People are thinking, where in the hell is Patrick Mahomes? Well, he's number 6. Patrick Mahomes is the 6th-ranked quarterback in this NFL rankings from CBS Sports. NFL quarterback ranking from CBS Sports. After Mahomes, Matt Stafford at number 7. Jordan Love at number 8. Jared Goff of the Lions at number 9. And Brock Purdy sitting there at number 10. Those are the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL according to CBS, with Jaden Daniels leading the way at number 1. Michael chiming in, saying, he goes, of course, our resident Bronco fan. Bo Nix, number 3. Josh Allen, number 2. And it hurts to say this, but Mahomes is number 1. It blows my mind that Jaden Daniels is number 1 on this list. It blows my mind. And that is not because I do not think that Jaden Daniels is not a good quarterback. He is a good quarterback. But that's been one season, people. One season. And yes, it was a great rookie season for Jaden Daniels. And you would think that the way the cap has been set for the Commanders, that they should be able to bring in tons of talent around Daniels for him to continue to have unbelievable success. They should be able to bring in tons of veteran help to help make him a better quarterback than even what he was as a rookie. Here's the thing. You've got a quarterback back there who is extremely talented. They're going to have weapons around him. But guess what? This next season, there is plenty of tape on him. And I'm not saying there wasn't tape on him in the postseason last year, but I'm telling you, there's going to be more tape. And I think that's going to change that. You have to give a little bit of grace or even a little bit of a nod to the guys who have done it consistently for a couple of years. Whether that's Jalen Hurts, who's led the Eagles to now a Super Bowl title, and of course also to multiple Super Bowl appearances. That's consistency. Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow are kind of in the same boat. They have shown that they can put up unbelievable numbers and they can lead their teams deep into the playoffs. They just have not been able to win the big games. They're kind of in the same boat as Daniels. The only difference is they've done it more times than just once. Then you have the guys that are 5th and 6th, and Josh Allen is kind of in the same boat as the other ones. He's done it multiple times. He has gone deep into the postseason. He's put up unbelievable numbers. He just hasn't been able to get past the guy who's in the 6th spot in this rankings of Patrick Mahomes. If Patrick Mahomes is not number one, then he needs to be number two. I mean, that's the way it needs to be. If Patty Mahomes is not going to be number one, then he needs to be number two. There is not a player who has been more consistent, and there's not more quarterbacks in the NFL that are compared to than Patrick Mahomes right now. He is the pinnacle. The guy who has won a whole bunch of games, won a bunch of playoff games, and has won multiple Super Bowls. He is the best in the league. So it blows my mind. Fine, he doesn't have to be number one. But man, to be number 6? Ridiculous. According to CBS Sports in this article, this is what they said. Was Mahomes' ugly Super Bowl showing an anomaly or clear evidence his increasing dependence on last-minute heroics isn't as sustainable as it once was for Kansas City? A healthier pass-catching corpse. Yeah, I guess a corp of that would help. But a leaky O-line still has questions. There's no denying he's still the most trustworthy signal caller in the game, but now he's proven vulnerable twice on the big stage. Okay. I don't know what you want me to say. If this is about quarterbacks. This is about quarterbacks, not about what's around, guys. It's about quarterbacks. If you had to draft a quarterback to win yourself one game, and you had your pick of the litter, your life depended on it, you guys win this football game, pick a quarterback, you're going to go with Mahomes. You're not going to go with Jaden Daniels. You're not going to go with Jalen Hurts or Joe Burrow or Lamar Jackson. You might go with Josh Allen. You might be able to go with Josh Allen. See, that's why I think it's like Mahomes, Allen needs to be number 2 in my mind. I mean, Josh Allen has done more with less. I mean, that's one thing about Mahomes. Mahomes has done a lot with a really good general manager behind him, backing him, and always finding good talent around him. He has been able to win because of the talent around him. And when the talent has been injured or has not been around him, he has, like a lot of quarterbacks, struggled. Josh Allen has not been able to win the big game because he doesn't have the same amount of talent around him, I don't think, on a consistent basis like Mahomes has. But he still finds ways to win by sacrificing his body and being the great dual threat that he is. Lamar Jackson is a very talented quarterback. We all know with his running and passing ability, he's a freak of an athlete, and he's had good pieces around him for a long time. But, you would say he probably has not been able to live up to what he should based upon what he has with him in his roster. Joe Burrow, to me, is a guy who, as of late, has not had, because of what other injuries or whatever, he hasn't had a lot to work with. He hasn't at times, and particularly on the defensive end. They had one of the leakiest defenses this last year, and Joe Anarumo was let go. But he had no defense behind him. His offensive line was highly questionable. He did have some decent wide receivers. Really doesn't have much of a running back since Joe Mixon left. So Joe Burrow last year had a bad year. He's also been injured a lot, but man, he does about as much as you probably can with a little. He does quite a bit. Jalen Hurts is kind of in the same boat as Patrick Mahomes. He's on a team that is very well constructed. Offense, defense, special teams, very well constructed. And he has taken advantage of that with his skill set. Doesn't try to do too much. He's not like he's going to be the flashiest playmaker you've ever seen like Mahomes. Just does what is asked, and he does a good job. So Jalen Hurts, to me, it'd probably be like Mahomes, Allen, Hurts, Burrow, Jackson, Daniels. That'd probably be my top 6. Mahomes, Allen, Hurts, Burrow, Jackson, Daniels. That'd be my top 6 if I were to do this post-draft NFL quarterback ranking. Having Jaden Daniels number 1, and here's the thing, I have nothing against Jaden Daniels. I think he was fantastic last year. He was awesome. But a second year is coming where teams are more prepared. They're going to be more ready for him, and it's a test. I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve to be number 1. If he goes out there and have another great year in his second year, then we can talk more. But 1 year can always be a flash in the pan. There have been other quarterbacks that have had unbelievable rookie years and did nothing or were just average from that point forward. There was heck even one in his own franchise. Robert Griffin III had a really good, to an extent, rookie year. Got injured, nothing happened. There's plenty of other guys around the league that you've seen that. So I can't put Jaden Daniels number one, which I find fascinating that some people think, like listener Greg thought he's the top 3 quarterback. And he has been good, but I still think it's inconsistent. Some other ranks. So I'll finish out there. So after Brock Purdy at 10, you had Baker Mayfield 11, Justin Herbert 12, CJ Stroud 13, Dak Prescott 14. For our Denver fans, Bo Nix comes in at number 15, right in the middle. It's early. Once again, I think that'd also be a little bit high, in my opinion, for him. But we'll see. A little bit high. I'm not going to say he's better than the 16th guy. I'm not going to say that he's worse than the 16th guy, though. That's Caleb Williams, still unproven. Geno Smith at 17. Trevor Lawrence at 18. I feel like Trevor Lawrence could be higher if he could just get some protection and get some help around him. I feel like he could be a really, really good quarterback. Drake May at 19. J.J. McCarthy at 20. Tua at 21. A guy who has never started an NFL game and has knee injuries already, and J.J. McCarthy is one spot better than a guy who has played quite a bit of NFL football, but unfortunately has been very injury prone. So J.J. McCarthy better than Tua. Funny. Sam Darnold at 22. Kyler Murray at number 23. I feel like Kyler Murray is very, very good. I've always loved watching Kyler Murray. I think he's an entertaining player, really good player. I would have him a lot higher on this. Justin Fields at 24. Cam Ward, rookie quarterback, Tennessee Titans at 25. Bryce Young at 26. Michael Penix at number 27. Russell Wilson at 28. Joe Flacco at 29. Anthony Richardson at 30. Mason Rudolph at 31. And New Orleans Saints, possibly new starting quarterback, Tyler Shough at 32. Those are the rankings there, according to CBS Sports. Very, very interesting. Michael chiming in, EpiBank text line. Bo had better season stats than Daniels last year and didn't get Offensive Rookie of the Year. I get it. There was a lot more was asked of Bo, but you also have to have some wins in there. I mean, not that he didn't win because he made it to the postseason. I get that, but hard to beat a guy who leads the team all the way to the NFC title game. The winning matters. Wins matter. And how long you can win, that matters. But like I said, if you put a gun to anybody's head and said you got to win it, any sort of semi-sort of NFL fan, put a gun to their head. Your life depends on winning a football game. What quarterback are you taking? 99% of people would say it's Patrick Mahomes. 99%, which is fascinating because he's at number 6 in this rankings. But whatever. Everyone has a right to an opinion. All right, there you go. Our opening segment, NFL quarterback draft ranking. You want to find more, you can go to cbssports.com, find those rankings there. But Jaden Daniels leading the way, which is a surprise to me. Great quarterback, still young. Let's see more in the coming next season. All right, let's get to a break. We'll come back. Christian Saya is going to join us next to talk some Rockies baseball as they've made a change at the managerial spot and some other news surrounding the franchise as well. You're listening to the Morning Blitz here on a Tuesday.
No matter what kind of trucking you do, Wilkins Truck and Trailer in Goodland is there for all your big rigs needs. They have hoppers, flatbeds, tankers, and utility trailers, day cab and sleeper cab trucks, plus one of the best parts departments around. Carrying quality name brands like Sherco tarps, Minimizer fenders, truck defender bumpers, and Lincoln Chrome exhaust systems and accessories. See their inventory on West Highway 24 in Goodland or on the web at wilkinstruck.com.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning, this is Kate Thompson with the Anderson Trade Group. Today is Tuesday, May 13th. On the overnight last night, July corn lower 3 3/4 at 4.44 1/4. September down 3 at 4.29 3/4. December down 3 3/4 at 4.41 3/4. March corn down 3 1/4 at 4.56 1/2. July soybeans down 3 1/2 at 10.67 3/4. August down 2 3/4 at 10.65 1/2. September down 4 1/2 at 10.48. Chicago wheat, the July contract down 6 3/4 at 5.08 1/2. September down 6 at 5.23 3/4. December down 5 1/2 at 5.46 1/4. March soft wheat down 5 1/2 at 5.65 1/2. Kansas City wheat, the July contract lower 5 1/2 on the overnights at 5.02 1/2. September down 5 1/2 at 5.17 1/2. December down 4 3/4 at 5.41. March hard wheat down 5 cents at 5.61. On the stock market this morning, the Dow down $173 at 42,323. The S&P up 3 at 5,868. The Nasdaq up $56, 21,005. Gold higher $21 at $3,249. Crude oil up 90 cents a barrel at $62.85. If you have any questions about marketing grain or would like to talk about risk management options, give our Colorado office a call. John Hankey or John Stiles at 970-744-4484, or in our Kansas City office, myself, Tom Pluto, Jared Law, Heather Ghosh at 913-748-3000.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor and or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
And talk to your BASF retailer today. Always read and follow label directions.
Start your day with a blitz of sports news, analysis, and interviews.
Sounds like a pretty damn good deal to me.
This is the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
Another couple texts just coming in talking the top quarterbacks in the NFL right now. Listener Bill says Mahomes, Burrow, and Allen are his three top quarterbacks. I wouldn't have any complaint with those either. I like those three guys as well. Let's change gears, talk a little bit of Rockies baseball with our good friend Christian Saez from DNVR Rockies. Good morning, Christian. How are we doing today?
Good. How's it going, Ross?
Going really well. I got to ask you this question, too. I know you probably follow the NFL some, despite being a Rockies guy, following the Rockies full time, but there was a post-draft quarterback rankings put out by CBS. They had Jaden Daniels as the number one quarterback, according to CBS Sports. Who would be your top three quarterbacks in the NFL right now?
Oh, top three quarterbacks. That's a great question. Well, I got to say, as a Denver guy, I'm hoping that Bo Nix makes his way onto that list at some point.
He was number
here
15.
Maybe
he was in the middle of the pack, number 15.
Okay. All right. After a rookie season, I'll take that. I think the easy answer for me is Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Lamar Jackson, top three quarterbacks in the NFL currently for me right now. But like I said, Bo Nix, hopefully he makes it into the top 10 here pretty soon.
What if I told you that Lamar Jackson was 4, Josh Allen was 5, and Mahomes was 6 in this rankings?
I wouldn't be surprised. Rankings tend to do that to you, but that's the way it goes.
Well, it's a fun off-season debate. That's what it is. It's a fun off-season debate. Christian Saez is our guest here from DNVR Rockies. Hey, it was a busy weekend for you guys covering the Rockies. Boy, my goodness. Can you just kind of go through from your perspective what we witnessed this past weekend with, coming out and Bill Schmidt coming out and saying, yes, we're going to be behind Bud Black. You lose 21-0. The next day he's gone pretty much. They come out and say we need to go in a bit of different direction. Can you kind of just walk me through what you saw this past weekend from the Rockies?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there was one of the writers who works with us at DNVR. He kind of put it really eloquently. He had said that this whole situation was necessary but messy, even by Rocky standards, and that's kind of the takeaway I had from this as well too. I mean, we all knew that this change was coming. When you start a season 6-33, you're barely getting any wins. Even the wins that you're getting, you feel like you're kind of snaking by. The team just looks like they're in shambles. You expect changes to be made at some point. We already saw the hitting coach get let go just about a month ago after the historically bad start offensively. And when things continue to get even worse, you expected that the coaching change was going to be made, pretty soon in the future. And we saw that in the firing of Bud Black. Also, bench coach Mike Redmond got let go as well. But the way it happened, I mean, like you said, Bill Schmidt, the general manager, kind of defending Bud Black, just a day prior to the firing, saying, yep, we're still happy with where things are right now. We're just, kind of trying to get back up on the horse, so to speak. And then 24 hours later, after a win, no less, announcing that they had fired Bud Black. It was a bit of a head scratcher, I would say, and just the process of what happened. But I think the outcome was necessary. Now, I'll get into it, I think, as we talk here in a little bit on whether or not I think that was, the fix to everything. But I think the outcome was what needed to happen given the state of the franchise and where the Rockies are at.
Do you think that it needed to be done any sooner, or do you think this is about the right time to pull the trigger and make a change at the head man spot?
I think if we're talking sooner and we're looking back maybe a year, maybe even 2 years prior, I think you could make the argument for that. Bud Black is known to be a very veteran-heavy coach. He works his lineup really well when he has good veterans to work around, and you can even see the way he's crafted this lineup, from some veteran presence scattered in the outfield and the infield even. So I think you could make the argument when the Rockies realized they were in a youth movement that maybe it was time to bring in a coach with a different outlook. But with that all being said, I don't think Bud Black was the issue entirely all by himself. I mean, you look at Bud Black, he had brought the Rockies to the playoffs in his first 2 years as the manager in 2017 and 2018 with a very good roster that he was given. All the players that I've ever spoken to that have worked and played for Bud Black have immense respect for him and his ability to work within the game. So I tend to lean more on the side that Bud Black wasn't really the problem, but I do think it took the Rockies a little bit too long to realize that, maybe we need a different voice in the clubhouse, given the situation that we're in with this youth movement.
We're visiting with Christian Saez on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware hotline. He covers the Rockies for DNVR Sports. Of course, the Rockies coming off a very interesting weekend with a 21-0 loss and of course, the firing of Bud Black. And yeah, that's the one thing, that you've talked about. He's really good with the veterans, and he really wants to stick with the veteran lineup, does Bud Black. But how much of it is this, it's time to move on. They need to start seeing what these young guys have, and hopefully that's what Warren Schaefer will do. What did you think of Warren Schaefer's first experience there as the manager, and what do you take away? What do you think he might try and do different?
I think Warren Schaefer's got a lot of energy and he's got a lot of fire. And not to say that Bud Black doesn't, but it's a different style of coaching, as I just alluded to. The veteran style coach in Bud Black. Warren Schaefer spent 9 years in the minor leagues coaching and kind of built his way up to the big leagues. Again, a person who is immensely respected within the clubhouse, within the organization. He was the infield coach before this. And if you know anything about the Rockies, you know that the Rockies infield historically has been one of the top infields in the game. I mean, multiple Gold Gloves. You obviously had Nolan Arenado back then, Ryan McMahon now, Tovar when he's healthy. He's playing, Gold Glove caliber defense. So he's got a good resume, and I think the players are excited for a little bit of that new voice. And I think he's going to bring that energy and intensity. He's a pretty intense guy, shows up early to work. And look, the overall situation here is that no matter how great of a new manager, a new voice in the clubhouse Warren Schaefer is, the Rockies are still going to probably lose 100 games this year, right? This isn't going to change everything miraculously starting tomorrow. The Rockies lost their first game with Warren Schaefer yesterday, and it was 2-1, pretty much looked exactly the same as it has with Bud Black. So nothing's going to change entirely with him here, but I do think it was a step in the right direction, at least long-term, to figuring out what does the future of this franchise look like, and especially from a managing perspective.
Christian Saez, our guest, DNVR Rockies. Christian, if you had to put a bigger blame on whether it was coaching and development or maybe the front office in the draft, why do you think some of the younger guys have struggled to make it in the big leagues yet, or is it just too early to tell?
To be honest, I mean, I'm starting to lean more. I had initially started out kind of feeling like, okay, it's too early to tell, but the more we've watched and the more we've seen this draft and development process for the Rockies, I'm starting to feel like the problem goes a lot deeper than just the sheer talent of the players or lack of talent of the players. The Rockies historically have been a team that has really prided themselves on being a draft and develop team. That is, if you ask anyone in their front office, they don't go sign the big flashy free agents. And when they do, they sign Chris Bryant, and that obviously didn't work out. So they don't sign the big names. They say, we go out, we research, we scout, and we draft and develop good players. And that's how we build a winning team. But if you look at the stats, the Rockies are actually one of the worst teams in all of baseball when it comes to draft and development. Their draft picks, their top draft picks, have one of the lowest success rates in all of baseball. So I think there's a narrative that needs to be changed within the Rockies front office. And I put this out on social media. I think when the firing happened, I was saying Bud Black was handed the keys to a sinking ship. But the issue with the ship isn't its captain. It's the person who built the ship in the first place. And I'm not out here calling for anyone's job, but I do feel like, given how poorly the Rockies have, organized their roster for years now, a lot of that blame has to go on the front office. And that's just the business that we're in. And so the fact that the general manager wasn't included in the firings, in my opinion, feels like the Rockies are not fully committed to change just yet. Bud Black was a piece of that, but I think there are managerial and front office decisions that go a lot deeper that have caused this well that we find ourselves in today.
Yeah, they're putting a Band-Aid over a massive hole, a big bullet hole of some sort.
Exactly.
Yeah. Once again, Christian Saya is our guest here, DNVR Sports, covering the Colorado Rockies. Last night, though, speaking of a rookie, Dollander last night, starting event was fantastic. 6 innings and 1 hitter, just did not get any run support, but that might be a guy that you might be able to point to and say that might be something. He's really starting to kind of find his way here early on in his career, and that's more than we can say for some guys that have struggled a lot longer.
Well, of course, and it's particularly exciting for us Rockies fans because when was the last time we got to be excited about a pitcher, right?
Yes.
Colorado is not a place where you get excited about pitchers.
That's a great question, Christian. Who would be that last pitcher you were excited about?
I think John Gray was the name that keeps getting brought up, of pitchers that had come up through the system, not traded for, not anything like that, through the system. John Gray was the last pitcher of that caliber when he was drafted, obviously top draft pick for the Rockies. And, he was the highest prospect in Rockies history as a pitcher. So he would probably be my closest comparison. But yeah, Chase Dollander's got good stuff and he's got a lot of room to learn and grow. But I was actually just talking about it on my show not too long ago. My co-host and I were saying, if there's one guy on the Rockies roster right now that could throw a perfect game, I think it would be, or a no-hitter even, I think it would be Chase Dollander. And next thing I know, he's carrying a no-hitter into the 6th inning against the Rangers. And I'm texting my co-host saying, hey, maybe keep an eye on this game. This is turning into something interesting. But in typical Rockies fashion, Dollander gives up one mistake, a 2-run home run. That was his only hit through 6 innings. And the Rockies can't find offense to help him out. And that's just been the epitome of what this season has been for the Rockies. It's why it's so frustrating for the fans. So I'm really hoping they commit to change, and that's my hope is that, okay, we saw the hitting coach fired. We saw the manager fired. Again, I'm not calling for anyone's job, but I do think, when you're historically bad and on pace for historically bad season, you've got to completely flip things upside down and make some uncomfortable changes. And so I'm hoping, we can start to see some things improve over the next couple of years, but we got a long way to go before the Rockies are a winning baseball team again.
Hunter Goodman has been very, very good. I feel like probably the most consistent bat in the lineup. Why do you think he's had the success that he's had?
He's a fighter. He's a guy who you don't look at. I've stood next to him a couple of times out on the field and talked to him plenty of times. And he kind of just looks like the average Joe, right? He's not very tall. He's not an overly big guy, but he just goes out and works hard. He's a grinder, and he has been a pleasant surprise for the Rockies. We knew his bat could be there last year. He finished the season pretty well offensively, but the big question was going to be his defense, and he still has some work to go on his defense. There's been some errors that have been costly on his part, but that's where I look at him and I say, okay, he's a young catcher, and catching isn't really even his first position, and he will grow into that is my hope. But his bat has been a huge bonus for the Rockies, and I think he's a piece that we can hold on to as part of that future, at least for now, as we're trying to rebuild into something better over the coming years.
Christian Saez, DNVR Rockies. One more for you here, Christian. You look at the schedule. I did this last week. I was looking at the schedule. You look at it's almost a perfect storm in a bad way for the Rockies. You knew you're going to have a rough year. You didn't go out and do anything in free agency. You have a young baseball team now, and you're playing in one of the best, if not the best division in baseball with 4 teams other than you vying for a postseason spot. How much is this bad year possibly 100 to maybe who knows? It could be a record for how many losses in a season. It's just due to the fact of just kind of the perfect storm of bad things happening for Colorado.
Yeah, that's such a good point. The perfect storm is a great way of putting it. And I will kind of look at that from my perspective as, to preface, I'm not rooting for the Rockies to lose. Every time I show up to watch a Rockies game, whether I'm covering it or just as a fan, I want the Rockies to win, selfishly. But I think big picture, if the Rockies organization is going to take notice, they have to be able to see that this is rock bottom. And I think they're starting to see that, obviously, because changes are being made very early into the season. But I think that has to continue for the Rockies to make meaningful, lasting change long term. So there is a part of me that feels like we need to just keep going as low as possible, just for the front office to kind of take notice of how bad this is and to really take some risks on some changes to get back into the swing of things. So when you look at the schedule and you see all of these games and all of these series that look impossible to win, there's reality to that. What I look at, though, specifically is how are the players developing, guys like Chase Dolan or guys like Hunter Goodman that you expect to see long-term for the Rockies. If they can win or lose, if they can continue to grow and develop throughout this organization, Dolander, a perfect example yesterday, got the loss, but it was a very good quality start from him. That's what I care about more right now for the Rockies than I do wins and losses. So it's a weird place to be in, but we're taking it for what it is.
He is Christian Saez. Once again, covers the Denver Rockies. It's the Colorado Rockies. Keep saying Denver, but the Colorado Rockies for DNVR Sports. Christian, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it. We'll catch up soon. Be well.
Absolutely, Ross. You as well.
Great stuff there from Christian. Fantastic stuff talking about the Colorado Rockies and, boy, the struggles that are. I mean, you can add it all up. You can look any way you want to. I mean, whether you can go to early on, and for the previous few years not doing anything in the offseason, any way, shape, or form to better your roster because you got gun shy about Chris Bryant and you didn't want to do anything since then. That's a problem. You've not been able to draft great or develop great. That's a problem. And you add in the fact you're playing in one of the toughest, if not the toughest division in all of baseball, it's going to be a perfect storm to result in what could be the worst record we've ever seen in Major League Baseball since 1900. Could see it. 40 wins looks like it's a long, long ways away. Long ways away. And I think what was it? The White Sox last year, I don't know. They had a horrible record as well. I think we're going to see them. I think we'll see the Rockies surpass that as well. But you do see a little bit of small changes like yesterday with Warren Schaefer. He's a younger he's a fiery coach, younger coach more of a minor league coach. He's playing younger guys, Amador at second base, getting a start in there. A lot more. You might as well. What the heck you got to lose? You're going to lose probably anyway. Might as well get all the youth out there and see what you got. Be great if Brenton Doyle could come up to the plate and actually hit. That'd be nice. Probably the biggest disappointment when it comes to the hitting wise so far this year. Be great if Michael Toglia could actually hit something, but he only hits around the Mendoza line, even though he did have a hit last night. But they need more guys to step up, and we'll see if it actually happens. And Tovar's been out, so lots and lots of problems for the Rockies. It's kind of a perfect storm here to end this season. All right, let's take a quick break. Come back, wrap things up here on a Tuesday edition of the Blitz.
Get up to $1,000 off your new device at Next Tech Wireless. Already a customer and need to upgrade? You're eligible for up to $1,000 off too. Choose from the latest devices like the iPhone 16 or the Samsung Galaxy S25. And it doesn't stop there. Get a $100 Visa gift card for all new lines. Stop by a location near you today. Next Tech Wireless, connecting Kansas.
Have you heard of Van the Morton Man? Back in Colby, where the legacy began. 100 years strong, building right, building grand. When you build with Morton, it's always as planned. From barns to workshops, garages to sheds, Morton's quality where every smart builder heads. Owned by employees, their hearts in each frame, a warranty that shines, a well-known name. So choose Morton Buildings with a history so vast, quality and care that's always meant to last. Meet them today and get your plan in hand. Crafted with pride by Van the Morton Man.
At FNB Bank, we know family comes first. Whether you're opening a savings account for your kids, buying a new home, or planning for the future, we're here to help every step of the way. With personalized service and flexible options, we make banking easy for your growing family. FNB Bank, serving families, strengthening communities. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Big savings are waiting at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Get a 25 Chevy Silverado 1500 with 0.9% APR for 60 months plus $3,500 trade-in cash. Or choose a 25 GMC Sierra 1500 Turbo Max, 0.9% APR, or up to over $7,800 off if you own a GMC or Buick. And don't forget, military members get an extra $750 cash allowance. It's happening now at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Online at hurlchev.com.
It's the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
Did you eat a lot of paint chips when you were a kid? Why?
Your daily dose of sports.
Thanks to Christian Saez for joining the program here today. Wrapping up some thoughts here as the regular season comes to a close here for softball today. I know Colby has got their games against Holcomb. That's been a forfeit by Holcomb, so Colby's going to instead be playing kickball against their parents, which sounds like fun. It'd be funny if the parents won. Nonetheless, we did have a question from listener Andy, which I thought was interesting. He goes, is there any penalty from Keisha for forfeits? Colby baseball has missed out on 2 doubleheaders due to forfeits, 20% of their schedule mostly, and softball, of course, with the 4. I don't think there's a penalty for forfeits. I don't think there is. I think the penalty is your kid, that school is not playing and they get handed 2. That's the penalty. They get 2 losses and they lose 7-0. I think that's the penalty. The tough part, and it does stink for the team that is able to play, and it really hurts worse over here, listener Andy, because there's just not as many teams to go out and reschedule a game with. That's hard to do. You're already playing pretty much every team in your area already on the schedule. And if one of them can't play, it's hard unless you're going to go play a team a second time, which you have the right to do. That's just a hard thing to do. It's hard to get 2 teams on the same schedule halfway through the season because you don't plan on this happening when it all gets going. So I don't think the penalty is you got automatically 2 losses and you move on. That's the penalty. And unfortunately for the team that had the numbers and the kids ready to play, it's really hard on ADs to go out there and find someone else to try and fill that hole. Very difficult to do, particularly in season, unless you want to just play another team a second time, and that's not always the funnest thing to do. So, but the regular season wraps up today for the Goodland Cowgirls. They will be at home for Senior Day at Ray Dye Field over at Centennial Park. Goodland Cowgirls taking on the Cimarron Ingalls Blue Jays, who have had another really good season. Golly, last year, Cimarron was fantastic, folks. I mean, they pushed previously mentioned Holcomb and Corinne Johnson to the brink in the regional title game, losing in 9 innings, 4-3. Didn't get to state. Holcomb did. But Cimarron Ingalls pushed them all the way. They had a phenomenal pitcher, still do, in Quinn Campbell, and they really had a great senior-laden lineup they could hit. They were really good last year. This year, Quinn Campbell is still there pitching, which is why they have a very good 15-9 record, but they're a lot younger in the lineup, and they commit a whole lot more errors. So they've had some really nice wins this year, including a sweep of Colby, which was impressive, but they've also had some interesting losses to teams they probably shouldn't have, particularly early in the season, but they're playing really good as of late. This will be a challenge for the Cowgirls, but not an impossible one. And really, it matters a lot because if you look at the regional standings, the Cowgirls currently have dug themselves out of second to last into the 5 position in the regional standings. If they could get a sweep of Cimarron, which I think will be a tall task, but it's not impossible, they could leapfrog Lakin, who's got 2 games against Liberal to finish out the regular season. They'll probably drop to 10-14. Goodland could get to 10-10. Maybe they're 9-11. That's the hard part. If you win both, you could leapfrog and be a 4 seed. Any way you slice it, though, it's really not all that bad because if you're Goodland, from their perspective, you're going to more than likely in the first round have to face Lakin in the postseason. In the first round. Okay, so you get Lake in the first round. Second round game, that means you're going to get the 1 seed. That could be Southwestern Heights. That'll be Southwestern Heights more than likely because they get Holcomb in the first round. And Southwestern Heights, as we all know, has a really good record at 13-7. But who have they played that has been really, really any good this year? That's always a question. So there could be a chance for you to have an easier path to the title game where then you have to face either a really good Colby or a really good Cimarron Ingalls team in the finals. But like I said, the way it kind of pans out, it's a big day today for Goodland Cowgirl softball, besides only being despite having it be Senior Day. So pretty impressive stuff there. All right, there you go. So once again, we will have coverage of Goodland Cowgirl softball. That will be beginning at around 2:35, 2:40 Mountain Time with pregame getting you set with Goodland Game Day presented by the Insurance Day, getting set for Goodland and Cimarron on Senior Day there at Ray Dye Field for the Cowgirl softball team.
And back lifts his ball high and deep to right. How about a walk-off three? Thomas to the 10. Difference going on in New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes flings it. It's there. Hardman. Jackpot. Kansas City.
Last night in the NBA, the Knicks take a 121-113 win over Boston and now lead 3-1. And Jason Tatum probably done for the rest of the season into next year. Looks like he might have an Achilles injury. So New York going to advance over Boston, one would think. Sorry, listener Michael, I know you're a big Celtics fan, so sorry, but looks like the Knicks have got it done. Golden State falls to Minnesota last night. It's 117-110. Ant-Man with a good performance there to lead the way for Minnesota. Tonight, you've got possibly a series clinching win, possibly, if the Pacers can beat the Cavaliers earlier tonight. And then you've got Game 5, Nuggets Thunder from OKC. Boy, Denver really needs this game. Feels like they really need this game badly, but we'll see. The Joker needs to step up his play, unfortunately, a little bit more in the NBA. And how about the Dallas Mavericks? What a season. Trade Luka. Everyone says fire the GM, get rid of it, fire Brent Fornavis. It was a horrible move, and they had a 1.8% chance they get the number 1 pick to get Cooper Flagg. Nuts. I don't know if it's rigged or not, but it has some weird feelings to it. It really, really does. Really weird feelings as the NBA draft. But nonetheless, Dallas Mavericks get a 1.8% chance to get the first pick, and they get it. And they'll have Cooper Flagg more than likely. Or maybe they should trade it and get something worth value. That might be actually worth it as well. All right, that'll do it for our program today. Thanks to Christian Science. Thanks to you for listening. Thanks to all the texters on the MP Bank text line. It has been great. Michael chiming in. Going to get 3 straight wins for the Celtics. Yeah, sure. I don't think so, Michael. Don't think that's happening. But that'll do it for our program. Thanks to you listening. We'll see you tomorrow in the Blitz.
Rocket 102.5 is KKCI, Goodland, Colby, Burlington. This is